Everybody, this is Grace, and in this video, I'm going to talk about that one. I used to write about this. You know, you can be in a class, go to a job, whatever it is, and there's always going to be at least that one that just disrupts everything, that causes all kinds of problems. And I'm going to tell a little story about one of them that the boss thought was a good idea to hire. Okay, and basically the story is that I started years ago. I started working for a startup company, wasn't mine, when they first started, okay? And it was just a summer job. I was in between semesters at graduate school. And I was like the second person, the second employee. The other one was the office manager. And I knew him very well. And they started hiring people, you know, as the things went on. And but one of the first people they hired was another kind of manager. It was a woman. And I'm going to say her size. You know, I can call myself a gentle giant, but this woman was bigger than me. And she came in, and I happened to be sitting at the front office desk at the time. And she and the office manager were standing right in front of me when, you know, she came in, and so they were talking. And this woman, always called her Shay. I used to write about her, like I said. And she came in, barreling in with an attitude, and she, in front of me, started talking about me as if I was nothing but a lowly piece of crap. Okay? Oh boy. And that's just not something that I allow. I don't allow people to treat me that way. And it was in front of me. And I made a statement, and clearing it up. And later on, the office manager and I went for lunch, and she said, "Boy, you just set that in stone, didn't you?" And she wasn't insulting me or anything like that. And she was just saying, "You did. You set in stone that woman's not going to treat you any particular way. Like you just, the woman's attitude, not mine, was that anybody whose staff is just those people like that." And I'm like, why would they? Later, they did hire this woman. I'm like, why in the world would they hire somebody like that? But they did. Okay. Now the clients for this particular job were generally very wealthy people, and the person who would have to, what I've learned later on, the person who would have to deal with them, as they said, that this woman Shay, she was that type. She was very, rough, and she just wouldn't take their bull. Okay, now, there's a way of not taking somebody's bull and not being, I'm being polite, and not being rude like Shay, and getting the job done. They said she wouldn't get her feelings hurt and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't know. This woman's going to cause more trouble than she's worth. But they found some kind of worth in her. I certainly didn't. Okay, well, for me, I had all kinds of, issues knowing how this woman was and not liking her at all. And, I didn't know her before then, but as I got to know her, no, she was going to cause trouble, like I was saying. She's going to cause trouble. Well, she certainly did. Now, I was there for just the summer, like I said, between semesters. I had taken the summer off. So I wound up quitting, eventually. And they knew that I wasn't going to be there long. And, I hadn't enough, they had hired a bunch more people, to get the business going and everything. And I could see that Shay was just already starting trouble. And, over time now, I guess it was a few years, I would hear about what was going on in that office. I actually had thought about going back to it and asked the boss, and she said no. She said, because of me and the office manager, there was conflict of interest, along this line. Move, squirrel. Yeah, I didn't want them to know about that squirrel. But yeah, a conflict of interest, and this was a lot of BS. But I think a big part of it was that I didn't like Shay, and they thought she was this grand person. Well, maybe you'll start to figure out Shay was a bully, and they were just kind of, they liked her for some reason. You know how that is, manipulative. Okay, well, like I said, a few years later, Shay, I had heard stories about how Shay was bullying the staff. Because, let me go back on this a little bit. When I was working there, Shay and I and the office manager were standing in the lunchroom one day, and I heard with Shay's attitude about the little people. And I'm not just talking about staff, but the job dealt with people, with other people. Okay, it's business, and it was like we can overcharge the Shay's attitude, not mine, the little people, which meant people that didn't have money. So, because they were to her insignificant in all of it, that kind of attitude. And I was just standing there thinking, does this office manager hear this, and does she see how this could turn out wrong? But the office manager also had an attitude of everything's for the corporation, everything's for the job, that kind of mentality that we have to ensure, and it's only just business. It's just business if we mistreat people wrong. So they were just, and of course, the owner of it, it was a woman, she was just happy as could be, make more money. And all of it was off of the little people. But the other people that had money, they wanted to treat them like, princesses and princes, kings and queens, this kind of thing. I was much younger, and I was just not totally surprised, not totally in awe, because I'd seen this kind of mentality before. But it was just disgusting, really. So, keeping with that whole mentality, years later, now I'll get there, I wasn't working there. Like I said, I only worked there that summer. Well, Shay caused a lot of trouble because the more they allowed her to keep that job, I guess you could say, the more that they allowed her to get away with things, the more important she made herself to them, and she started mistreating the staff. Okay, and by then they had quite a bit of staff, and she would come in the office, she would be rude to them. I would hear stories from the office manager, and sometimes other people, because I would run across them in that same field. I would work for other places, and they were kind of connected, and I would hear stories about it. And that Shay was just awful to the staff, and treated them like she tried to treat me that first day. And I ran across Shay times after that. Like I said, these places were kind of connected. It's just her and her attitude, Anyway, so she kept mistreating them, and I kept warning the office manager, this is going to cause all of you problems, And of course, as time went by and no problems come about, they allowed Shay to do more and all this. Well, eventually Shay ran across someone probably a bit like me. Well, in a way like me. It just wasn't going to take it either. And the result was that, as I heard, they wound up in a lot of trouble. This woman, she wasn't going to take it, but she found some way to get them in a lot of trouble. And that was to be, the trouble was actually, they had to get lawyers, they were under investigation for years. And the result could be that the ones in management that included Shay and the office manager and the owner could wind up in prison, imprisoned and or fined. And also, they would not be able to work in that field ever again. Okay? And now, I only heard from the office manager. Remember, the office manager had the attitude, everything for the business. And some of the things she would say was like, well, this woman, she had a boyfriend who is a lawyer, and that's what they do. They go around these businesses and they find things to cause problems, and she gets a kickback and all this stuff, you know, from reporting it and everything. No, if there wasn't something there, okay, they wouldn't be found. Okay, it wouldn't be found. So, and the end result was years. These people went through years of suffering, all the anxiety because of Shay and her attitude toward people that really ticked somebody off, and the person took it to the next level, legal way, and sued them. And they went through so much. They had to actually go back. Shay and the office manager and I guess even the owner had to take classes to ensure that nothing like this would ever happen. It was all because of Shay's attitude. Oh, we can make the little people pay, and she was wrong. Yeah, all due to her arrogance, her attitude about she and other management and the owner, they're on top, and the staff underneath them are underneath them. That whole mentality of some hierarchy, and she's way up there, and she was a piece of crap to me. To tell you the truth, she was. Oh my goodness, and when it comes to attitude, hers was the lowest of low, and so they went through all those years. And they did, it was investigated, and they did find some problems, not as big as this woman had reported. At least that's the story I was told. But, they found some problems. But after years of paying lawyers, taking, all their time going, a lot of time going to court, a lot of time doing their own investigating. They had to send in a lot of information, all this kind of stuff. All because of this woman, Shay. And her attitude. You don't tick off people like that. But, and she would be verbally abusive to the staff, and I kept warning the office manager, you don't do that, okay? But her attitude, she'll get away. She knew that for a while she would get away. She bullied this staff, and she got away for it, like I'm saying, for a while. And then she ran across someone who wasn't going to take it. So, the result of it is that at the end of it, besides that they almost all lost their jobs, they had to take more classes, and they wind up now having to pay their staff much more just to have people that would work there. Now this place, it's a really nice business. We're talking, they deal with people who are very wealthy, and they are very wealthy. The owner. But yeah, wealth, when you hire somebody with an attitude like that person, yeah, you need to listen to people. So, okay. But anyway, I was thinking about this whole thing recently. Now, I haven't heard too much about all that in a few years, but I was thinking about this, how that one bad apple, and people who don't listen, they are so arrogant, and because they have this position that they don't have to listen to other people who say, you've got a problem here and you need to correct it, and they didn't, and I was that person they should have listened to. Okay, seriously, and along the way, but they were, it's all about the corporation. It's all, by then it was the corporation, and it's not going to cause any problem. Well, it caused them a lot of problems and a lot of a lot of trouble, a lot of anxiety. When you're afraid you're going to wind up in prison, yeah. And that, and of course, like I was saying, they would find reasons to blame the woman that they felt started all of it. No, it wasn't that woman, that employee. It was Shay. Okay, and them allowing Shay to be there. Anyway, I think that's enough for this video for now. Do you have a story like that? Leave a comment below. If you want to subscribe, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click one of the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you would. And I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.